Yeah, that is weird. Right. Yo, what's good, everybody? Bren here. Hope everybody's having an amazing day. Obviously, it's been a fucking explosive fucking day so far. I'm fucking lit. ETH longs are up. A lot of the, sorry, someone's calling me. A lot of the biggest memes. Sorry, let me just put my phone on do not disturb. Some of the biggest memes and everything just fucking exploding. You know, we've been the last. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is continuing to come through, even though I put on do not disturb.
Popular today, friend.
What's up?
You're popular today.
Yeah. One second. Uh, but anyway, yeah, everything fucking exploding. Last week we've been telling you, and really for the last few weeks, been telling you that despite all the fucking rate cut drama, that this correction we're seeing chart wise, at least, was very similar, especially on Bitcoin, to what we saw last in June and July, almost to the T, where Bitcoin came back, almost retested the all time high, made one more low, and then went on to all time highs. That's pretty much what we did here. Broke the all time high here early, about a week ago, came back down, formed an equal low this time, just barely breaking that all time low. And as of right now, we are running it back hard. Of course, nothing is confirmed until we reach those all time highs. But with ETH already back at all time highs, essentially, or back at the previous all time high, with just a few percent from the actual all time high, I would not be surprised if this is it. And if we were to get any type of pullback here, I'd be very lucky. I think what we're going to be entering here in 2025, 2026 is a strong period for not only Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, but memes, select alts, NFTs. I think it's going to be one of the most explosive periods we've ever seen for crypto. So I'm super excited to be here. I know we have a lot of people already in here, 320 views at least in the last three minutes. So if you're coming in right now, maybe new to the stream, welcome. First of all, we do these streams, myself and For Loco, my buddy here, which I'm excited to hear from him today. We do the streams twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at around 10:30. We're doing 10:30 a.m. PST. We're talking everything that's going on in the markets. I talk about what I'm doing. We review a lot of stuff going on in crypto and in the outside finance world. We love to make these streams super interactive. Honestly, the chat, especially in our stream, is like half the stream. We love taking comments, questions, jokes from the chat. So definitely leave, your comments, questions, chart requests when it's time in the chat. So first of all, before we get started, before we talk about Bitcoin and where I think everything's headed next, For Loco, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, bro. Happy Friday to everyone. Indeed, a happy one after a pretty interesting week. I think on Tuesday everyone was bearish. By Wednesday, everything was pretty much priced in, and then yesterday we kind of like were heading up. When we saw, I think the interest rate cut percentage went from like on Polymarket from 70% to 86% this morning after Fed Powell. But Feels like we're back in bull territory. I know we're going to be discussing Bitcoin and Ethereum, so I'm excited to chop it up and see how quickly, how fast, pretty much CT and sentiment changes, from day to day in this market. So it just goes to tell you you cannot be out of the market. You always have to be in the market, and obviously, if you're trading, set up your profit levels as you always mention, Brent, but never be out of the market, because in one day you get this like 15-20% candles, and then next that you know, you're completely sidelined. So
Yeah.
excited to be here.
Yeah, 100%. Great points. Yeah, if anything we've learned from, especially from people like Max and stuff, that most of the big days in the markets, in both crypto and the stock market, come within a few weeks of the all-time bottom. So it's very hard to get in and out and time these markets, especially with how it fucks with you psychologically. It's just best to buy and hold great assets, have a longer time horizon. I put out this tweet today. A lot of people just feed into these fear narratives every time these corrections happen. You don't have to. Honestly, I know it's hard, especially if you're newer to crypto, to not get caught up in the fear, especially if your coins are down a bunch. But this is why I just say this every fucking stream. You have to form a thesis and a belief that goes further than price action, right? So yeah, it's crazy to see. Definitely, we'll be talking Fed, the Jackson Hole Symposium, and what happened today, which is obviously what ignited prices. But yeah, everybody go ahead in the chat. Let me know what you guys are trading, what you're feeling. Did you get, knocked out of the market? You're holding strong? You've been buying during this period. How are you feeling? I want to hear from everybody in the chat. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, meme coins, kind of what I believe will be, or what could ignite NFTs, just a bunch of things today. So super fucking excited to be here with all of you. If you guys could retweet, comment, bookmark the stream, always appreciated. Again, Tuesdays and Fridays, I will be here chopping it up with you guys. What's ETH all time high? We broke it yet? It's at like 40, I think, what for look like 4,800 on Coinbase.
Yeah, we actually, I think for a moment we uptick to all time highs, 4,800 and something. I want to confirm that number, but I think we uptick to almost 4,850, which is right up the previous cycle high. So looks like Tom Lee and company want us to cross the previous all time highs, and then the sky's the limit after that. There's not really a top. So
Absolutely.
they're moving fast. I think actually I was reading some stats. Tom Lee and Lutnick and all these guys are pretty much accumulating. I think they already almost have close to 1.5% of
I think,
total.
yeah, I think
Ethereum.
Lee himself has one, and then yeah, together they all have like 1.5, which I'm super excited to talk about that. Before we get into that, though, I want to review this clip from last stream really quick, just the first few seconds. Hindsight looks very simple. I think this is kind of the best case scenario for crypto as far as like longevity. Now, as far as where it's going to stop, I think it's going to do one of two things here. It's either going to sweep this low, kind of how I have down here at 110, kind of reverse and go up, or potentially make a fresh low at the low 100s, make another kind of low at the bottom of this corrective channel here, kind of maybe down again 104, 100 area between 110 and 100. But I think very likely that will probably be it. And I think we're going to see a correction that looks very likely, in hindsight, looks very similar to what we saw in July, where again, saw a correction come down. Bitcoin came back and almost retested the previous all-time high, which again, a little bit different here in August. We broke the all-time high, but just like in June/July, we retested the high, came back down for one more low, and then moved higher. I think that's exactly or pretty similar to what we're going to see here. Whether we come all the way back down, pause it. But yeah, that was some last stream. To me, again, on Bitcoin, both obviously fundamentally wise, stuff like everything happening with ETF flows and still incoming treasury companies, a lot of the institutional stuff, a lot aside on the ETH and the blockchain side, we're just so obviously continuing to be bullish, regulatory clarity and all that. But chart wise, to me, this to me, this Bitcoin correction here in August right now is looking very similar to what we saw in June and July, where Bitcoin barely came back to that all-time high, made one more low and went up. And exciting to see this shift happen here without having to go back all the way down to 105. To me, I think this is very likely it. It's always possible we kind of pull back one more time. Who knows what happens? But I think with the comments from Powell today, I would not be surprised if this is the beginning of the new impulse that takes us back to all-time highs. If so, I would expect, in the coming days for Bitcoin to continue to push up pretty hard here. Somebody asked me today on the Telegram, like, how can we tell that this move is it, right? How do we know that this is a move just like in June or back in April and not just like a flash in the pan? And I would say, I said to the person that I think, first of all, we don't know for sure. No one knows 100% what's going to happen. But the number one thing to focus on that differentiates something like this move and then something like just a quick pump and that goes back down is the impulsivity of the move, how strong the green candles are. Because as you can see, all these big impulses up, it's usually filled with big green candles with small red candles, if any. So the impulsivity of this move and how everything's moving up super quickly off of this low, I think is extremely bullish. And if we can push back above for Bitcoin like 125 above this prior bounce high, I think it's very, very likely that it's over and we're just going to continue on to all-time highs. At the very least, this shows that this is, again, a correction exhibiting corrective behavior versus something like a big reversal, like a bear market, beginning of a bear market high like we saw in 2021. So I'm extremely bullish. Somebody told me a second ago to pull up Sol. I think, if anything, Sol might have had the cleanest corrective pattern here with how tight this corrective channel was. But I expect much of the same with Sol. I think it's going to move above the all-time highs and very quickly move above this this high here and move above its all-time highs from last year or from January when the Trump coin happened, probably in the coming months as well. From there, again, sky's the limit. I think we're going to see ETH really pull away here, hit those 6, 7, maybe 10K mark pretty quickly. And in that world, I think we still see Sol do really well. Again, I would really implore everybody to not pit these coins against each other right now. I think we're entering a point where there's going to be so much block space demand and so much new capital entering crypto, people using blockchain, that there's for sure going to be enough block space demand for two dominant chains. They both optimize for different things. So I think both are just going way fucking higher. For Loco, I mean, what do you think about this move here with Bitcoin? I know we probably want to get into the Fed stuff here because that's, where you have a lot to say about, but I mean, what's your thoughts on this move? Do you think this impulsivity is super bullish? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's incredible to see how I think we were discussing this prior to this call is how quickly sentiment changes and how quickly things happen. I mean, if you look at the price of Bitcoin last Thursday, like literally like a week ago, it's where we are right now, and the same with Ethereum, right? Like you had. We had impulsivity all the way up to the top. Markets were a little bit overbought somehow, and then you had the fears and people kind of like preparing themselves in case Fed Powell, Jackson Hole, whatever speech was a little bit more hawkish than it was. Actually, turned out to be dovish by some of the remarks that he made. But yeah, I mean, prices are back at what they were 1 week ago, Brent. So literally, what it means is, this was just a little bit of a cool down period, kind of like the risking moment. But we're back at it, and people don't want to be sidelined. So these two 4-hour green candles, both on Bitcoin and Ethereum, suggest that we are, it's a very strong move up and likely to continue for the foreseeable future. So I'm excited to see what this weekend. Obviously today there's a lot of excitement. We can get into Powell comments in a minute, but I'm excited to see what will happen over the weekend when we know that only crypto is available to trade and the stock market's closed. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, I think the skies are blue until I think it's probably mid-September when the next FOMC meeting is, and then after that, hopefully rate cuts. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what's going to end up happening is crypto is going to have a run regardless of what happens with rate cuts. It hasn't needed rate cuts, or at least consistent rate cuts. Obviously, there was a rate cut initially, last year, but um, didn't need consistent rate cuts or QE to go up, and especially doesn't now with regulatory clarity and like the institutions just bidding. But with that being said, if we were to get rate cuts, smooth rate cuts and QE of some sort, then of course that would act as fuel to the fire and could push us into a longer bull market. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I want to get more into the Jackson Hole symposium and exactly maybe what was said. I read a little bit about it. Like you said, he's pretty dovish, but then did make kind of clear signs. He said stuff about inflation is still, kind of concerning, and that kind of signaled towards a rate cut, which obviously the market digested it is bullish. I mean, what else did you glean
Yeah,
from what you saw?
I did some notes, and obviously there's a few positive ones, a few okay ones, but the overall speech tended to be a little bit more dovish, which is for those that don't know, dovish is positive slash bullish for markets, right? Tending, as we mentioned, that rate cut percentages on poly market were around 670 something percent for September, and now they're close to 86 to 90%, right? So we're back at where we were last week prior to the meeting, where everyone kind of were almost having it as a guarantee that we'll have at least 25 basis points, if not 50 basis points cut in September. But some of the things he said, I mean, starting for the not so good ones, is that inflation obviously was still a little bit like high when it comes to the PPI numbers that we saw, and unemployment, it's a possibility that it still goes up a little bit, which
Yeah,
means that unless you have the economy growing with high unemployment and slightly high inflation, you can get
yeah,
close to a period of stagflation, right? Which is for those of you guys that don't know what stagflation is, and most of you probably already know. We discussed this term many times, but it's when there's not a little growth in the GDP. There's significant high unemployment and high inflation, right? So that's not really good for the economy. But then he also mentioned that there's some positive outlooks or positive metrics that will let the Fed abandon the pretty much the cut, whatever the tight policy that it has on the economy right now.
yeah.
So it would pretty much tell us that they're shifting some of the risks to adjusting the policy. The word adjusting the policy is really what sent the market up like crazy this
Yeah.
morning, right? Because he's always been pretty conservative, and he's been fighting Trump and everyone else to pretty much not rate cuts and not make a decision.
Yeah.
But then he really said that that they're preparing pretty much. I mean, with that word may warrant adjusting the policy, that they're going to be preparing for a September rate cut. So that's
Yeah.
really pretty much the overall overview of the Fed meeting. So
100%. I
yeah.
appreciate that. And I appreciate you breaking down to a lot of the dovish and everything to people. Cause I'm sure when people hear dovish and all these things, they're like, what the fuck does that even mean? So I appreciate you breaking that down. I know I did when I first heard it, but I do think 100%. What was I going to say? I completely just blanked out. Um, you're 100% spot on. I think, what, oh, fuck, I was completely about to say something. It'll come back to me, but AD in the chat says everything is flying. Thanks for the calls. I'm up in Lofi and Seoul and Pangu, and you forget to send something. Yeah, no, for sure. I think yeah, Pangu, everything is going up. Memes up today. I think I'm super stoked. I've definitely added pretty heavily to my long here on ETH as we were going down. So up on that, taking a bit of profits here today. But other than that, I haven't taken much profits on anything. We are starting to see memes start to move up hard, but I think what we're going to see is a prolonged period of bullishness, where not where last year where we just went up for 2 months and went down. Of course, that's always possible. Nobody knows for sure, but I think what we're going to see this time with regulatory clarity coming in is two things. Um, One, founders, actually probably big announcements of founders coming into crypto and being able to build stuff for the first time, whether that's through tokens, NFTs, crypto companies, platforms. You're going to see big names attach their names to crypto, as they're already doing. We're already seeing Toyota and a lot of these companies attaching blockchain and making announcements about that. And then two, I think we're going to see normies going to come in for the first time. A lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of streams and a lot of people saying crypto's cooked. The market's more efficient. We're never going to see normies come in again, where there's going to be a quote unquote alt season. While I think a lot of that is true, the market is definitely more efficient, especially in Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. I think humans There's always going to be human greed, and there's always going to be people wanting to speculate on stuff, especially around stuff like tokens and stuff like that. Sports betting is just a massive thing. I think it's just for a lot of people is another version of that, to where I think is we haven't had a really normie kind of alt season for a few reasons. Obviously, FTX and stuff like that kind of scared people away, and then two, regulations and stuff as well. But I think those two things, FTX has been a while. I think it's been a while since FTX. I think for the first time in 2025, likely the beginning of 26, we're going to see an influx of new capital into crypto, which is going to create a period where not only do these memes, Mog, SPX, Giga, the movement coins with like really strong communities, not only do I see them going up like crazy, but I think we're going to see memes, maybe like AI, like Tau, those kind of coins, like real AI coins, AI, maybe gaming, different stuff running at the same time, kind of similar to how we saw in past cycles. Okay. And I think right now is the perfect time for that to happen, is because the crowd and most people are just completely discounting and ruling out this possibility that we're ever going to see a quote unquote alt season again. And again, to me, an alt season is just where a bunch of sectors are running at one time, where there's mania, where there's, coins going up 5, 10, 20x all the time. I think that's what's going to happen. And at that point, I think it's going to be something more prolonged, probably into 26, possibly 27. And then that point, we possibly get a bigger bear market. But everybody calling for tops right now, right now, I just think it's just foolish, because again, big tops, meaning big bear market tops, come after euphoria, where coins are up 10, 20, 30x. They're not coming when everybody is calling for a top and when coins are down 80% for the last 3 months. So I'm still extremely bullish price wise on the future. It's obviously narrative follows price. Corrective behavior has been very obvious on these charts. And then all of a sudden, Powell says something bullish about the markets. It's kind of like Loco said on the last stream. Whether it's orchestrated or these things just happen, oftentimes good news events are going to come at the end of these corrections. And that's why you just got to accumulate and be more bullish during times of correction, and not wait for these clarity or these for things to be certain. Because as soon as it was certain, as soon as that news came out from Powell, it was already rocketed up, right? So anyway, long rant. I do want to go ahead and get into memes, NFTs, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys are looking at today, what you want us to talk about as well. I see a lot of people saying Bossman Calls in the chat. Shout out to you guys if you're from Bossman Calls on the Telegram. If you're not already, it's a good time. Definitely go ahead and check out the Bossman Calls Telegram channel. I love being on Twitter. Definitely super active doing these streams and just tweeting all the time. But in the Bossman Calls Telegram channel is where I post my in-depth thoughts, trade ideas, posted trade ideas on SPX, USDUC, Pengu and stuff before they 5, 10, 10x weeks ahead of time. Post tips, tricks, videos, giveaways, all that good stuff. So if you're not already in there, check it out, as well as check out my business partner / good friend Bossman as well. Him and I own that channel together, and definitely a lot of good insight from him as well. The meme side, majors, a lot of good stuff as well from him. So, and then definitely follow my boy for Loco. Before we move on, definitely like, comment, retweet the stream. Always appreciated. But I want to see what's going on in the chat before we move on. Wristbands has been holding strong. Added a little Pengu a few days ago. Zilla says, not much, bro. Just watching from the sidelines now and learning from y'all. Shout out to you. Just holding previous alts, bro, and grinding with you. Couldn't get an ETH as long as I was at the gym. Damn, that's rough, bro. Yeah, it's I think next time maybe just try layering in slowly ahead of time, a few days ahead of time, instead of trying to wait until whatever. What news caused this pump, Bren? Well, like we were talking about before, today was the Jackson Hole Symposium, where the Fed Chair Powell spoke and said some, it was dovish, and hinted at very likely rate cuts coming in September or soon after. Bro, the wind was so high I was flying in money and my losses are recovered. Wrecked world domination. Yeah, that's one coin, honestly, that I don't highlight enough. And that's admittedly because, oh, wow, this is a really nice correction on Wrecked right now. Admittedly, it's because I just don't have a big bag of it. I had a Wrecked guy NFT, still do, had a bit amount from there, but I don't know why I did. I don't know what was going on with me, but I definitely just missed most of this move. Didn't get in as much as I should have around here. Always been super bullish on OSF Rect and Mondo, even before they came out with the drinks and everything. Just super fucking amazing what they've done. Not only is the coin just going crazy, but they've opened up a new category with you know, are really pioneering a category of, I think what they like to call, like, what do they call it? Product coins, or they have a certain name for it. But essentially, I think they're already an NFT brand, but I think we're going to see a lot of existing brands and companies do something very similar where they attach a token to a company or product line, because what it does, it evangelizes. I don't know where that's coming from. Is that you, Furloco? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You were gonna say brand
Yeah, no,
coins,
it
right?
just, there was an echo, but anyways, the what they've been able to do with the attaching a coin to the product, I think a lot of existing brands are going to do the same thing, because it, again, people having exposure, having financial upside in the brand attached to a token makes people like the best marketing and essentially walking billboards for it, and attaching the coin to essentially what they did with the rect cans is they attached a certain amount of the coin to the cans when you bought the product. And when they first did it, I think those coins are up 10x now or something. So I think we're going to see a lot of companies do the same. And I appreciate you for bringing up Rect, Mama Luke, and I hope you're doing extremely well on that, because Rect, I think, is going to continue to do really well, and it's pioneering something that we're going to see a lot of other brands start to do, I think. What do you think, Furloco? I don't know if you're muted or what, but um, do you feel PAL news will bring back OG meme plays? Yeah, no, I think the PAL, not just in PAL news, but this move up, yeah, I think is going to, again, lead to a tipping point for memes, alts, and a lot of other sectors. What NFT is more profitable? We'll go over that. Do you think this bounce marks the start of a bigger rally? Yes. What do you think about Kanye coin? Yeah. Also, Yeezy coin happened this week. Oh, man. So, absolutely not. So, I luckily completely avoided this. I was actually out when it was happening. Back when it was here, I was kind of like, damn, am I missing something? But then, obviously it went on to go down. And to me, it seems like I don't think Kanye sold his Twitter account. I think if you believe that, like, he's, he has however many followers and he sold it to somebody in crypto. I just don't think that's what's happened. But with that being said, I do think this launch was very, like, gimmicky in the way that I think it doesn't seem like it's something Kanye was taking on as some artistic play or something. It seems like some kind of just extraction play, obviously, with how it went down. Very sloppy. The tweet that he put out here, kind of announcing the coin, I don't think it's AI, but it's like super just like generic, and just like,
The official Yeezy token just dropped.
it seemed like they just told him, yo, quickly record this video and we'll take it from here type shit. Like, I could be completely wrong about that. Maybe they do have something planned, and a lot of people think that he had the guy, what's his name, the guy that bigger, I forget, VC guy that was working for him, that they have this bigger play with the website. But I mean, to me, I'm just going to completely stay away from this. I think it was extraction play, and I think very likely this may mark the top for a lot of these daily runner plays that, like this guy put it here. Yeezy coin was likely the last nail in the coffin for the daily runner hunger. I think there's going to be more pump fun stuff, but I think a lot of what's going to take over now is these solid coins, and a lot of people are going to be sick of getting rinsed on new launches. How are you positioning around this bounce? Scalp, swing trades, or just holding? Me, I'm just doing what I do during every correction, man. Accumulating my conviction plays spot wise, and then slowly adding to my ETH and Sol longs on these corrections. But for me, it's mostly buy and hold, brother. I think, especially if you're newer, that's just the way. You don't need, especially in crypto during these corrections, you don't need to be using high leverage or trading perps to And if you're trading perps, I trade perps too. I'm not saying, some people make money with it, but if you're new and you're not super good with charts or anything, it's just like all you have to do during these times is ignore the fear, accumulate good coins, and just be patient. Get wrecked or die trying. 100%. The ticker is wrecked.
Mhm.
For Loco, you back now, brother?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I don't know why my mic was disconnected, but yeah, no, I like the brand coins meta. I think we've been in that, and I actually was discussing this with someone else yesterday. The truth is, brand coins have to be not just like tokens that people resonate with, right? Like in the case of Pudgy Penguins, they have great IP. And in case of Rect, I think the drinks in the last drop, they actually didn't include any token airdrops. It was just pretty much that people like the drinks, right? So you have to have a good product and good IP, but most importantly, founders, right? Like we've known in NFTs and Web3, people rally around founders, and you have to be extremely active and be able to build in public, right? And so OSF with Rect, Luca with Pudgy. I can think of someone else, but those are the two ones that really come up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, 100%.
You
No,
guys?
yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
100% spot on. I think with Rect, it was like the perfect storm of a product that was. I haven't tried it. I don't know if you have for Loco, but I thought it was an energy drink at first, but then I learned that it's more of like a what's it called? Forgot what they compared it.
Seltzer. Yeah.
Not Celsius,
Yeah.
not Celsius, but whatever, something you're supposed to drink while on like when you're out drinking. I they are what I
Electrolyte?
like a something like that, right? Somebody in the chat, tell me if I'm wrong. I know what's his name, bro, the Rect guy who was talking in the chat right now, Mama Luke. Let me know. But I do believe what I was watching a clip and an interview with Mondo that they're going to move into caffeine and energy drinks and stuff like that too. So
Okay.
I would expect more stuff from them again, just to product wise. And you're 100% right. I think it's a perfect storm with Rect, where they have great founders, a product that people seem to enjoy, that the coin that came out with good timing and a good launch and stuff. So,
And
boss,
honestly, the truth is, if the people really trust, like if your community really trusts your founder, you can see that the tokenomics don't really matter as much because Rec Token actually is 30% owned by Treasury, is the actual team, right? If you see
yep,
that in any other meme coin, that would be a red flag. But when you have a Dogs founder and team that has been here for many years, actually that supply control tends to be positive. It tends to be bullish. So, and by
absolutely.
the way, you have a store. You have a, I think they have a 7-Eleven. I want to say that they sell these rec drinks in LA. So you gotta go get some.
Yeah, no, I know
So
that. I think they had like a thing a few weeks ago, right, in LA, where they were in a select few 7-Elevens, but I think it was in Chicago at that time, but yeah, I know it's crazy.
yeah.
I would expect more of that, probably more partnerships and stuff with existing brands, and who knows? They've alluded towards not necessarily them. I don't know if they're trying to, but maybe they get acquired by a Pepsi or whatever else, and who knows what that does for that specific coin long term. But that would be huge for the industry. If any a huge legitimizer for the industry if any of these big corporations, Pepsi or in another realm, bought one of these big NFT brands and then especially launched a token or whatever, or used an existing token. That would be huge for the industry as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. So
Yeah.
boss, what do you think this bounce holds on to next week? I don't know. I think we're going to go higher, man. I wouldn't overcomplicate the short term. Regulatory clarity and big names coming into crypto. Yeah. The market's on fire. Hope this lasts. Now that there'll be regulatory clarity, we could see some serious announcements from big firms integrating blockchains into their system. That, along with the treasury narrative, creates a perfect storm for a super cycle. Yeah, I agree. Bren, with the noise everywhere right now, how do I cut the noise and what do I focus on? You just focus on picking like a few coins and communities, whether that be in memes or AI or whatever, learn everything about them, have a longer time horizon, and just buy and hold. That's really like all you really need to do, bro. Just stop feeding into these tweets and people just trying to whatever. Everybody has their opinion, but that's just what I would do. It's just How are you personally trading this
Most
bounce?
of the times it's better to really go against what the CT says, to be honest,
Yeah,
because that
gotcha.
always most of the times they're wrong. Because if you really track CT trades, I mean, of course, there's some good traders out there, but most of the sentiment that comes from CT tends to be actually counterproductive. It tends to lead to either bottoms or tops. So I would always make your own decisions based on research. Obviously, to have your quant or the office. So
100%. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people giving opinions, but there's a big difference. I made a tweet about this not too long ago, but there's a big difference between the skills that it takes to be like a great investor, trader, analyst, and what it takes to like build the Twitter account and like kind of hack the algorithm. And there's a lot of people who have both. Like a lot of people who built a following because they've consistently had good takes and made people money and all that good stuff. But a lot of people got there because they're personality, which is great. But like for Loco said, I personally, that's what I did when I first started is, learn from everybody, but pick a few people that you trust and really respect who first and foremost usually have time in the game. I think that's really what it comes down to. There's some people who are a year or two in who are just geniuses, but really the people that I respect and the people who I most learn from are people who have been in time in the game, 5 to 10 years in the game, who have lived through these different corrections, lived through these different things, who have experienced multiple cycles in multiple different environments, and who are just consistently have good takes, who don't flip flop and for likes and for views just whenever it's convenient, who are consistent. Pick those few people and just really learn everything you can from them. That's kind of where I got to where I know without having like a crazy finance background or anything. So definitely great points for Loco. So much knowledge in the Bossman Calls Telegram channel. Regulatory. Okay, let me see. Almost caught up on the chat. I'm up 730% on my ETH longs. Shout out to you, man. Good shit. Do TA on Sol. I did a second ago, bro. I think Sol, just like ETH, is going to go way higher. A lot of people, just like they did with ETH and Sol last year or at the beginning of this year, are going to try to pit these two things against each other. Like, oh yeah, ETH's going to go up. That means Sol has to go down. I don't think that's the right way to look at it, at least for me. I think both are going to go way higher. Both chains, Solana and Ethereum, are going to have a lot more block space demand and people using the chains in a couple years or in a couple months from now than they are now. And therefore, I think the tokens go higher. I think that's just simply it. Do you guys come on TV? I think I've heard you. If not, then maybe soon. On TV? I don't know, brother. I think that's funny.
hey,
Um,
that would be epic if we have a TV show, Brent.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like more people are online nowadays. I'd rather have our own TV show on Twitter, dude. Who's even watching TV now?
He might mean to do like YouTube, like perhaps like
Yeah.
show our faces, etc. Maybe something
Oh,
like
I
that.
get. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Miss Win shared the stream. Appreciate you. Hard seltzer. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do seltzer too. I think with alcohol, it's kind of a completely different thing, where you have to get a bunch of licenses and stuff. But who knows? Can you look at notice some pumps yesterday? Crypto Twitter is just 99% for entertainment purposes. Always need to remember that. For the most part, yeah, there's some gems on crypto Twitter for sure. But I think definitely as far as when it comes to analysis or takes or directional bias, definitely take everything with a grain of salt unless somebody has shown you over a period of time that they're consistent. Which support and resistance level should we be watching for Bitcoin? I think that the all time highs are just gonna are what you want to watch for both, but I think they're both gonna go higher. I already have a YouTube channel, haven't really posted too much on there yet, but anyways, we were talking about Yeezy token for Loco. I think you were cut out when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, seems to me that just another kind of extraction thing where Kanye himself isn't doing too much with it. It seems like it was just kind of a quick pump and dump. I saw a lot of people, at least the people who sniped it, were on Instagram kind of celebrating about it. I personally think that I don't think the pump fund and gambling and stuff like that's completely dead. In fact, I think pump fund probably sees all time highs in volume at the peak of this, the next couple months or next year. But I think a lot of people who got rinsed from these, especially these new launches and stuff, are going to kind of be like, all right, this is it. I just need to find some coins that I can buy and hold and actually, see success in. And I think this is Yeezy is probably kind of the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. But I mean, what are your thoughts on Yeezy in general? What were you doing when it came out? Were you even looking at Twitter? Or I mean, what are your thoughts in general on the whole?
Yeah, I think it came like during the time like evening Pacific time in the US. I can't remember what it was, but I think I was already kind of like doing other stuff and when it came out. And to be honest, not much to really say. I mean, this is clearly an organized, orchestrated pump and dump somehow. I mean, like literally, like if you see all the traders, especially the ones that profited, the top ones that were making like $1 million P&Ls, etc. They never really bought the token, right? So these are KOLs. Maybe the KOLs screwed the people here. I really don't know who bought this token. To be honest, I don't know anyone in my circle that bought it. And to be honest, if you really have been in crypto for a while, you know that this was this was going to be the outcome, right? The likely outcome was that it was going to pump on the news, especially if it was going to be a legit one, and it was going to dump from there all the way down. Where is the bottom on this? I don't really know, but at 650 million FDB, I have no interest in even looking at this token. First of all, I don't really buy celebrity tokens because it's just not my thing. And then the other is I don't really see any interest from people to buy this after all we've seen the last few the last few years with so many celebrities launching tokens and the outcome being the same. So I will touch this with a 10-foot pole and not interested in seeing or putting any attention in tokens like this. To be honest, I know it's Kanye. Everyone has a lot of attention on this guy, but I would just put the least amount of attention so that we don't really make the same mistakes that we've made in the past, right? Like these are short-lived things, and hopefully we can focus on things that will last for longer.
Hundred
We
percent.
focus here on you're buying meme coins, you buy those that have been for many years and they have cult like communities and inner founders. So
Absolutely, yeah. I think pretty much the people, the celebrities that should or could support a token to where they could integrate it into a bunch of different things and their like apps and give access to different things to actually build utility aren't interested, or at least they're not allowed to, or it just doesn't make sense for them to launch a token, at least yet. And then the people who are doing them usually need quick cash, blah blah blah, or contacted by shady individuals. Do I think there is a time where crypto will be so widely accepted and tokenization and stuff will be so big that celebrities or maybe not top tier celebrities, but just up and coming creators or just pretty mid level creators, um, the token thing may make sense in certain contexts, maybe in the context of like an app like Zora, where the token is directly integrated into their content and can give access and like all these different things. But yeah, I think the celebrity meme coin thing where they just directly launch a meme coin with their name on it and not doing much with it is just forever kind of fucked because it is an attention game. Now, with that being said, I do predict that in the next couple of years, as these things do come up, that up and coming creators, especially newer ones, there probably will be creator tokens. I think are going to be a thing. It just makes sense to be able to have just to simply break it down to you. Just don't even think about crypto, but just a way to speculate and to support your early creators and fund early creators and have upside in their early success. In this day and age, I think just makes sense, and I think that creator tokens, as time goes on and tokenization and stuff becomes more widely accepted, that I think will be a thing. But obviously, this just straight celebrity meme coin thing is just cooked, and 100% agree. Can you tell
yeah.
us a strategy for use to see a meme coin that will explode? I think just finding coins that where the community is super active and just like gung ho, like during these times where things are down. Those are the coins you want to bet on, and just coins that have been through corrections like this before. So you see yourself promoting casinos, or you'll stick to? Yeah, no, I don't. I don't personally um, promote any casinos. I know a lot of people are doing it now. For me, I'm just not something I would do. But not shitting on anybody who does, if that's your thing. Brent Loco, what you think is the main driver of the super cycle institutional adoption? You just said it yourself. All of that, yeah. Uranus still bullish. Only coin is not moving. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really been keeping up with Uranus other than just looking at the chart. Do you know anything about Uranus or the connection to Jupiter and all that for Luca?
To be honest, no, I haven't really been looking at meme coins much. I think right now we're undergoing a phase of you're really seeing this institutional adoption of top tokens. And I mean, we are seeing with Link, one token that we should probably look at is, I know people really care about meme coins. We can discuss Uranus, but no, I don't know much about it. I know it came, is that, does it come from a specific launchpad that is newer? It's the Jupiter launchpad, right? So maybe
Yeah,
it's one of those tokens that will perform well when Solana goes back to all-time highs. As of right now, Solana is like getting close to, actually very, very, very surprised. Solana, uh, you know, was following the candle of ETH, which is very positive for meme coins and anything in Solana because it's been the lagger of the three majors. And now you have tokens like Link also outperforming like crazy. Chainlink, I don't know if you have followed Chainlink, brand, but it's one
Mhm.
of those that I think will continue to outperform. And I know you've been talking about XRP, so I'm really looking at more like majors, just because I see a lot of capital flowing into these tokens more than meme coins, and perhaps as Q4 comes in, meme coins start to be a little bit more strong. But as of right now, I'm more interested in looking at majors, Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink over the next few months, and then as November, December come in, maybe I play on the meme coin side of things. Obviously, you can always have a bag of meme coins, but I do think that they have their time. And right now, it looks like majors and other altcoins that are have been doing and have been building for years are outperforming. But yeah, look at Chainlink, man. It's like it looks like it wants to rip, in no time. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, no, yeah, it looks looks amazing here. Chainlink looks amazing here. I think correction right back into this low from September 24. I think we're what a 2x from all time highs now. Chainlink, one of the most like under, just not even talked about coin a lot recently, the last few years. There used to be a big cult around it with the Link Marines or whatever they used to call it themselves. Still a pretty big
Mhm.
community around it, but Chainlink, it simply comes down to Chainlink. The oracles and stuff is, at least their oracles are the most kind of one of the widely integrated apps, or not apps, but technologies in crypto. Like almost every major, at least on Ethereum, every major, anything that needs data oracles, most of them use Chainlink. And the
Mhm.
token is actually used in the protocol. And then two, they're trying to build this CCIP thing or whatever it's called, that kind of makes all blockchains interoperable. So for that reason, I think Chainlink, time in the game, been in the game for 5 or 6 years. This is something that these institutional types, um, are drooling over, like where it's like one of the few technologies that actually uh, has a lot of utility and is actually being used in crypto already. So yeah, I think Chainlink, especially once it breaks this all-time high at $50, is just going to fucking go nuts. So I really like it here. I really want to look at Pump Coin or Pump right now as well. Made a post about it in the Telegram today. I think the coin Pump, is in an amazing place right now and might just take off from here. I really like, again, to me, Pump is just a no brainer really until it gets back above all time highs. Obviously, a lot of up and downs around sentiment. With this coin at first, Alon and all them, he was the devil, and everybody was like, "Oh, where the fuck is he?" And then now they're supporting creators. I think it's just, again, ignore other people's opinion, and you got to look at first principles here. For me, I think it's like Pump Fund, one of the biggest revenue generators on Solana, has the biggest war chest in the ability to not only use that coin to do stuff like buybacks, which they've already done, but all their eyes are on them. Alon seems like a really driven founder. It just comes down to they have the most capital and stuff to do stuff, but then also the most ability to drive attention to the coin. I think right here, until it's back above all time highs, is just a no brainer, and I really think it has. Fuck. Um, I sorry, I have the chart up now, but beautiful corrective channel into this low here as well on the charts, back down into this multi-month low until Pump. To me, until it goes back to all-time highs, it's a no-brainer. Biggest revenue generator on Solana, crazy driven founder, with like a huge war chest to continue to support the ecosystem, put attention on the coin. I think not only does it go back to all-time highs, but because of how much of a big piece of Solana and everything it is, that not only is it going to get attention and stuff from a lot of the meme coin traders, but a lot of these institutional types, this is something they would buy as well. So I think it goes back to all time highs and very likely to 10 plus billion in market cap in the next coming months. So I've been buying a lot of pump down here as well. Um, what do you think about charity coins? I don't know. From everything I've seen charity wise seems to usually just be a gimmick and just a way to catch minimal attention, and then usually it's just so much of the same. Um, Bren, learn, flip, then after you store. If Bren knew just a year ago in my 6 years in crypto, I'd have been a big whale. It's all good, brother. You still got time. Can you give us your analysis for Jupiter and Pump coin? Oh, I just went over Pump, so that's good. Compared to ETH and Sol prices from all-time highs, Bitcoin is really lagging behind. Is it possible to see Bitcoin Pump continue with alt chops around? I think over the next 3 to 6 months, they're going to move at different times, but I think Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, alts, all are higher from here in the coming months. Gary on Pump. I'll look at that in a second. Shout out to you, Mike. But what else is going on this week that we haven't hit yet for Loco? I think it's been much of just the Jackson Hole Symposium, Yeezy Coin, and then obviously this big price explosion.
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a pretty slow week. I mean, at the end of the day, we're we're nearly at the middle of August, right? We're tending towards the end of August, but there tends to be a slow month in general for many markets, and we've had a pretty, we've had a lot of activity, but this week really has been centered around this meeting at Jackson Hole, and yeah, we do have some headlines around kind of like geopolitical stuff with with NATO, Russia, but really nothing really much more than noise that we really had to track. And then you keep getting all these positive headlines on crypto, right? Where you keep getting more and more accumulation. Whether these treasury companies will continue to keep their premium or not, that's another debate that probably we could have. But on a positive note, it just feels like even the EU, actually one of the headlines is the EU, based on what happened in the US, the European Union is actually accelerating plans to introduce stable coins. And I think even China discussed that they might be able to or open to start stable coins backed by yuan, right? So it's just more and more positive news across the board for crypto, and they come slow, but at some point, as what you mentioned, right? If you are not positioned in the market because you're scared or because you want to look for the best entries, then you get one day there's 20, 30, 40% candles and you're completely sidelined. So it's had to be in the market, and there's times in the market like this one that it can be boring. Maybe is boring for a few months, but then the fun will start and you wanna be positioned. So yeah.
Yeah, the key is just believing in great assets and buying shit while attention and hype is low. It's so tough. It's hard. It's against human nature. Most people want to, again, just the only way they look at a chart looking good is if it's up lately. But the only way we're able to become proactive and be early to coins, which you must be to crypto to really make money, is by buying these coins during these times and just ignoring the bullshit. But
I guess another headline we can discuss is, yeah, the stock fear and greed index actually before today's meeting, I think was around the lowest since May. Right, so that goes to tell you that when people are like way too scared, and yeah, last week maybe the markets were a little bit heated, but within literally a few days that reset happened, and the fear and greed index was literally as low as it was in May, right?
yeah,
So it's one of those things that whether you trust these indexes or not, it's what you said. Whenever you have good assets and they dip like 20, 25%, it's always a good time to buy and add more, because at the end of the day, this is just what you mentioned. It's a multi-cycle bull market. Perhaps more than 4 years, it will be closer to like 6 to 8 years type of bull market. And you have to be positioned for the long term and not look for those quick gains, because most of the times when you do that, you tend to either be way too aggressive with your positions and lose time, or pay too much for fees if you're in leverage trading. So just buy things that you trust, have a small bag of trading with leverage, but your biggest position should be buy and really don't do anything, which is a boring advice, but it's really what's going to set you up for generational wealth in crypto.
100%. I wasn't sure if I was muted, but yeah, it's yeah, no, exactly. It's pretty much like the stock index perma like people who are just permanently bullish on stock indexes and just didn't get scared during every correction or every crisis or trade war or dot-com bubble, like, oh yeah, dot-com bubble, all the different stuff, and just held the great stocks, just printed actual generational wealth like over the last 20 years. I think people who are bullish on ETH, Bitcoin, Sol, and then other great meme assets, the few meme assets that'll survive other great sectors, are going to do much of the same as those stock index bulls did. And it's just, I think when Max was on the streams, he just put it so perfectly that it's just, there's always going to be another crisis. Like, that's the only constant in this market, is there's going to be crisis, there's going to be pullbacks and corrections. It's just being able to, again, just be the few people who are actually able to have conviction and buy during these times, and especially just not get caught up in the fear. Those are the people who are going to outperform everybody just alone. So, and shout out to FFV. I don't know if he's on this stream right now, but him and I just recently started interacting and talking to this guy on Twitter just in the last year. One of the people I respect the most on Twitter, not only gives great takes on both NFTs and crypto, and super smart guy, but seems like a super cool individual. I'd love to have him on the stream here as well. I don't know if you're listening. Shout out to you. Definitely give him a follow if you haven't already. I think he streams as well. I don't know at what days, but definitely check out him as well. I need to have him on the stream. But Sui, yeah, I think Sui much of the same, bro. Sui's probably in a great place here too. Shout out to you, OK as well. OOZKK. Definitely check me out on Instagram, TikTok as well. Same thing, Brent Trades, with 2 S's on TikTok. And yeah, let's see. What about Dogecoin? I think Dogecoin exploding as well. Doge is in a nice little corrective channel. I think we see Doge go to a dollar plus here in the next 25, 26, and probably much higher as this kind of memes kind of pick up again. I think that's what a lot of people think it's going to go to $1, but I think it probably goes way higher. There's people like Kaleo who see it going to a, close to $1 trillion market cap. But I mean, even if it did a fraction of that, I think Dogecoin probably makes a huge explosion here soon too. There's a few memes I want to look at other than Pump. I think Pengu already exploding here today, I believe, but still actually in this corrective coil up. I think Pengu's likely going to hit a tipping point here with already at 2 billion. I think with stuff like SPX and maybe start to see coins like Pengu, SPX, probably Bonk start to hit that 10 billion threshold. And just like, the 4-minute mile, where these paradigms where one person hits it or a few people hit it, and then all of a sudden there's just it's the new paradigm. I think that's what we're going to see here with 10 billion mark, is that a lot of coins are going to start to be like the 10 billion mark will be the new 2 or 3 billion, where we're going to start to see a lot of these coins start to hit and sustain these higher market caps. At least the ones that have strong communities and like an IP or stuff behind it. So yeah, I think Pengu hits not only 5 billion, but probably goes, again, one of the few coins that goes to 10 billion plus in 2026. They're pioneering what I think is going to be a huge category in social currencies, where they have a coin that's plugged into the center of a brand or a product line, with the currency kind of being in the middle of it. And really, all these coins are is just a game of attention. And if you have a brand like Pudgy Penguins, whatever brand, have these tokens, the ones that are able to drive the most attention to the coin wins. And I think Pengu is just going to continue to dominate that game. So, what was I going to do? SPX. Let's look at SPX here. SPX is another one that, was buying heavily on the way down here. SPX is just like has the highest mimetic ceiling, but the biggest thing and why I'm so bullish on it is their presence on not only on crypto Twitter, but on TikTok, Instagram. They have people who are actually showing their faces and talking about the coin, who are not only, evangelists on Twitter, but like are actually making content and talking about it in real life. I wish I could remember this kid's name. Is it Jake? What is his name? There's this kid, for example, who like he goes around to like, this is just an example, like goes around to bars and all these different places, like just in his everyday life, and just talks to the XPX about people. There's just a lot of people who are just very passionate, who are not afraid to show their face with SPX, and just a lot of these great aspects that I think pushes it again to not just 2 to 3, but to 10 billion, 15, 20 plus billion if we get a crazy kind of meme market. And right now, price wise, I really like how SPX is correcting in this kind of mini corrective channel. Again, has all the great aspects of corrective behavior with lack of consolidation up top, with these clear bounces and clear lows in this kind of coil up. The way I like to think of these kind of coil ups or corrections are essentially price kind of coiling up in like a spring before pushing back up. Um, and these corrective coil ups, corrective channels have distinct behavior where they're more choppy and coiled up and before they push higher. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with SPX. And I expect much higher prices here soon. Am I bullish on desync? I don't really know what that is. You know what desync is?
Desync, there's a chain, yeah, I think it is. Oh, desync. Oh, decentralized. I remember that one. It's been a while since I haven't seen that one around, actually. Pull it up, yeah. No, I don't think it's desync on abstract. I remember.
That's true,
I think
yeah.
I've seen that. Oh, there you go. That's right. That's the token from that's Alex Becker, one of his tokens. I know he's got a big vesting on that one.
Oh, okay.
It's an AI, actually. It's an AI
Gotcha.
token. I don't know, man. I mean, to be honest, if you follow Alex Becker, all his tokens and everything, and you believe in altcoin season, and perhaps AI will be one of them, potentially. I know there was some FUD going on with Destra back in the day, and I think they may have solved it, but for what it looks like, it's still a little bit like a direction channel, right? So I don't
Yeah.
really have many things about it. I don't know the team, but I know Alex Becker is heavily involved in this, or at least
Yeah.
has a big bag.
For sure. And I think the AI narrative, like the real AI infrastructure plays, like not like the AI agent meme coin stuff from last year, like the Tau and the stuff that's really building AI infrastructure. I think it's just gonna have a time because of AI gonna take over the world, obviously, like at least the technology so huge in the world, and then crypto also. Like I'm really big on um like convergences of two big narratives, like I am with meme coin NFTs, like meme coins and NFTs being really strong. Meme coin NFTs going to be huge. I think AI obviously going to be extremely transformative. Crypto extremely transformative. AI crypto I think is just going to be a huge narrative, and not just for like narrative sake. Like I think Tom Lee and others put it perfectly is that AI is going to need a place to transact on. And crypto is just the place they're going to do it. Why would it transact on traditional rails? So not only are countries, institutions going to be using Ethereum and these different networks, but AI will as well. So these specific AI coins and stuff like Destra, I expect to do really well over the next few years. Who knows if they take off right away with the memes and everything else, but these coins are definitely going to have their day, and I think not only are going to be some of the most sustainable and like biggest moving coins over the next few years, probably.
Yeah. Two markets that I think we should keep tracking, and with the rise of gambling, I think we discussed this, but definitely a topic we should probably bring in next week, Brand. It's gambling and prediction markets. You're seeing a lot of like Web3 companies, but even like Robinhood. I don't know if you saw Robinhood, but they have a big. I mean, they recently introduced prediction markets, and you'll be able to gamble directly on Robinhood, right? So yeah, you obviously have Polymarket. I think you have Myriad Markets, which I think is part of the FOMO Hour group or whatever those guys. And then you obviously have Calci for the I guess older TradFi generations, but you're gonna see more and more prediction market platforms come up. And then when it comes to gambling, I mean, I don't know, are you farming JEET because I know those guys are also like Mando and Keyboard Monkey. Those guys I follow as well. Something I've been wanting to do is really focus on these platforms that are getting a lot of TBL, a lot of attention and users, just because housing prices go up. Millennials can afford it, so a lot of them are putting bets on crazy stuff, and I think gambling and prediction markets will be up in the rise. So a good spot to be in, whether you're farming it or building in that space, from my perspective.
100%. I didn't even know about Robinhood and prediction markets, but it's just, I think it just goes to like everything is going to be gamified slash token or like gamified and like a market provided to it. And I think speculation, whether it be on sports teams like we're already seeing, but creators on events, all that stuff. I think everything is just going to be given a market through tokenization. And I think everything's just, you're going to be able to speculate on everything in the future. So I'm not surprised to see Robinhood and these others just become like all around speculative apps, right? And you're already seeing Coinbase and the Base app. I'm sure that already has speculative, markets, stuff like that as well. So
Yeah, I
definitely.
think Brian Armstrong came out in an interview the other day with, I think it was the CEO of Stripe, saying that they're going to introduce prediction markets in Coinbase. So, I mean, a few years ago, pretty much gambling, sports gambling was illegal in California and in many other states. And I think with the new administration and the ability to introduce crypto into this, it's going to be massive, absolutely massive. People really like to gamble on things that they enjoy, not just in tokens or like crypto or stocks. So sports gambling, prediction markets, events. It's going to be even. I think if you have the opportunity to either invest in one of these platforms, that will be a big opportunity for you to kind of like build up wealth in the next few years, because some of them are going to go into the hundreds of billions, if not trillions, in the next decade. From my perspective, because you are getting all the attention, a ton of capital, and increasing more and more and more difficult conditions for millennials and people that are up and coming after graduating from college to really be able to afford a house, a car, and just like the basic needs, because the currency debasement. So you either are invested in assets that will outperform the dollar and will outperform market indexes, or you have to gamble away, right? So you're gonna see more and more of these platforms come up and really do very well. So I'm going to keep track of that, and perhaps in the next show we can do a more in-depth analysis of what platforms and what tokens we could let our audience kind of like guide them towards, because I think that's going to be one of the next things to really track closely. Prediction markets and gambling, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Dang. Why does the screen keep going out? Let's see. But yeah, prediction markets for sure. You're seeing more and more of these kind of niche bets placed on Poly Market, even on small things. The Fed decision in September is up to 78% decrease. I'd expect this to
Wait, is
probably,
that the 25? Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, the
for
25%. Mm-hmm.
78%. I'd expect this to probably continue to rise or at least stay pretty steady up until the month, but no change at 18% is interesting. Probably
I
a
see a lot of people doing this, man. A lot of people that I believe they have a bunch of capital. They keep putting this like nothing happened type of bids across
yeah,
the board, which if you kind of like overall, let's say you pay 10 bets, right, and you spread your capital in that way, or your risk, you spread it across 10 bets. In most occasions, like really nothing happens in life, right? Everything
yeah,
stays unchanged. It's because both polar opposites tend to meet in the middle. So yeah, I see a lot of people putting capital in nothing happens type of like odds, and outperforming those that say yes or no.
for
So
sure, and
that's very
that's
cool.
valid. And I did that like a bit too, and it's definitely valid. And I think there's a lot of people who are able to do it, like some of these top guys on the top betters on here. The problem with that and where it's tough is that, especially if the nothing happens one, usually you're looking at odds that are like 90%, 95%, 92%, where yes, 8 or 9 out of 10 times you're going to be right on that. But that one time that you're not, you lose everything. So if you put say $100 on these bets, to $100 to make $5 or $10, you can win 5. But then that last time it goes to 0, or that one time it goes to 0, you lose that whole 100, which is more than the profits that you made off the last 5 or 6. So while that's definitely true, you kind of have to win like 999, or you have to win like 9.5 out of 10 of those bets, or else that one could wipe out your profits from the last 5. So that's why I think this is just like, even the guys who I've seen, the top guys, one of the guy, I forgot his name, was on the Thread Guys stream. It's just like, it is what it is. This is betting. There's no like, there's a systemic way that you can do it to be more smart. But at the end of the day, a lot of these are 50-50 decisions. Like, it's still gambling, and you can, there's not really a great way, I think, to have risk to reward on something that's all or nothing. You know what I mean?
Was it Trader Main, or maybe it was Trader Main? I don't know. I think there's definitely there's an edge though in prediction markets, right? Whereas in the casino, you know that the house always has the odds.
Yeah.
But I think in prediction markets, you definitely have an edge.
There's an edge for people who are just great at predicting. Yeah, there's an edge for people who are great at predicting this stuff. It's not just 50-50 like a roulette wheel. But at the same time, the risk profile, it's just not the same as investing, where you can have stop losses and stuff. I guess you can actually have stop losses on a poly market, where you can, if it goes down a certain percentage, you can get out or sell the NFTs or whatever, or sell your position, which I guess that might be the way to defend against it. But with something like crypto, where you can have stop losses at a certain percent, versus like a bet, that's like a binary thing where you're either win 5% or you lose it all. It's just a little bit tougher. But yeah, no, there's definitely guys who have an edge and are really good at doing it. I saw the guy on what's it called, Thread Guy stream, said that he, back in the day before it was on Poly Market, for the election or something, he would like call around to all the, like, he would actually use his like in real life things to find information and dig deep and to find like information that other people didn't have. So there's definitely guys that are just all in with the things and are thinking outside the box for sure.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know, have we ever reached out 2,000 listeners? Because we are closing now 1.5 1,500 listeners, which is incredible. So thanks for everyone for tuning in today on a Friday. Definitely a good time to be active in the markets.
Hell yeah. Definitely. Shout out to everybody. Thank you guys so much for being on with us. I think we got near 2,000 or 2,000 near the stream back like peak times in December. But shout out to everybody who's been on with us every single week, everybody who's continued to learn from not only ourselves, but, you know, just continue to stay active on Twitter, ignore the noise, accumulate great coins. Just the biggest progress that I made in my trading journey has been after quiet times or boring times, where I just kept my head in there and continued to get better and learn. The periods that came after that are some of the biggest growth I've ever seen. So shout out to all you guys, setting yourself apart from the crowd, who most of the people just sell everything on the way down and kind of stop paying attention until prices are back up. Shout out to you guys who did the opposite. Any predictions for Kronos chain? We can look at that. Somebody asked about Caspa though. I don't know too much about. I haven't been keeping up with Caspa too much. I know it's a chain that has multiple years in the game, and I do like this consolidation here of like 5 or 6 months. You know, looks pretty corrective. Again, don't know too much about it, but price wise, I could see this start to move higher from here. Chill Guy, I don't know about Chill Guy. Got a lot of NFT questions today. Yeah, we'll look at NFT right now. Should Elon Musk need launch Elon coin? I think he can. Yeah, no, I think what's most likely, if Elon does anything in crypto, it'll just be to continue to talk about Doge. I mean, just having his own coin, like right after Trump, if you would have said, oh, Elon's going to launch his coin, back then it might sound a little bit plausible because of just the hype that was going on. But I think what's most likely is, if Elon is to do anything with Doge or do anything with crypto wise, it would just be continue to support Doge. Which I think the thing that takes Doge to like $1 trillion or $500 billion or something way higher than $1 is probably going to be Elon supporting it and potentially integrating into into Twitter or something like that. Yeah, let's look at Mask real quick. Mask has been exploding, or Troll was exploding. I don't know about Mask. Max looks like it's up today. I do like the consolidation, corrected behavior into this low. Consolidation for about 4 days. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mask move higher here. Troll has been absolutely fucking exploding. yeah, not too much to say about this. Great correction down here, and it's just been moving strongly up. Don't have any troll, but shout out to everybody who's been doing well on that. Can the September decision be a sell the news event? Yeah, I don't know. I think again, just being bullish on the next 6 months to a year, I think is the move. Fuck, dude. But do we think dump in September? I don't know. I would say that's like the most common questions we get on this stream. When's the next dump? When's the next correction? I would switch your mindset to be more of to take advantage of the time when we are correcting and just buy then. And don't ask when's the next correction, but instead ask like when's the next pump? Like when just focus on. Don't focus on when's the next fucking time we're going to pull back, but instead take advantage of the time that we have been pulling back over the next 2 or 3 months, or over the last 2 or 3 months. What do you think about Boys Club? I don't know. Boys Club stuff could run. I'm really bullish on Pepe. Further than that, it's up in the air. Could go, could not. I just don't see. I like the movement coins, like the ticker Bitcoin lock-in, SPX Giga Mog, more than just like singular memes around these Boys Club NFT or Boys Club memes, which I think a lot of time are kind of cabal coins and kind of bundled and stuff. Which key resistance? Yeah, I don't know. People keep asking about key resistance levels. Like, I think just no one knows where shit's gonna stop. I think just buying stuff right now and taking profits on the way up is the move. Has alt season started? I think we're at the beginning parts of it. But yeah, we're about a minute 15 in. I think for Loco had to get off, but definitely gonna hang out here for a bit with everybody. Trump meme. Yeah, I think Trump is still setting up nicely here, just like Pumpcoin is, and I think makes a move higher as this meme season heats up. Again, just like Pumpcoin, it comes down to the team's ability to like drive attention to the coin, and I think the president of the United States has nobody has more ability to drive attention. Yeah, all time high on ETH is getting close here. What a fucking time! I'm lit, guys. I'm my long position on ETH. Had a long position on ETH that I started accumulating down here on this low, from about 18 to about 1600. Have added a bit. Added a bit when it came back down here in February. Again at around 1800, and then taking a bit of profits, about 25% of my position right now, and or about I had more than I took some profits right here and then added again on this obvious corrective channel. I think for perps for me, the name of the game is the same thing with coins: is you want to be accumulating during corrections and then just taking partial profits on the way up. We could get some volatility here near the ETH low, or I'm sorry, ETH all time high, but I also would not be surprised to see it just slice right through it as well. So I'm loving this strength here. I think what's next is not only ETH, Bitcoin, and Sol pick up, but I see alts, memes, and NFTs probably getting a bit here too. Let's look at NFTs a bit. So look at what's been hot. Moonbirds still on a fucking tear. This guy Spencer, since he came in and bought Moonbirds, they've gone from under 0.3 to all the way to 3.68 ETH. Again, just he's a Spencer. I don't know too much about the guy before Moonbirds, but it just seems he's just that guy's a great vision for Moonbirds and has consistently offered on-chain value to the Moonbirds over the last couple of months. Apart from the Moonbirds actually being one of the most aesthetic or best looking art and PFPs in my opinion, how much higher does it go? I think it probably does go a lot higher as this NFT season pops off. Congrats if you've been in Moonbirds and have held throughout everything. to me, I think there's a lot of other great bets out there that are going to have Moonbird type moves in the next coming months. Particularly, and again, I just talk about this so much, is just like I really like VFriends here. That's my biggest bet. Like I said, top 10 holder in both of the collections, Series 1 and Series 2. And timing is really hard with these type of things, especially as ETH moves up. But simply, I believe over the next 6 months to a year that not only is ETH going to go up in USD, but great NFTs, not everyone, but the great NFTs with great operators in the IP realm, meme coin NFTs, and art are going to go higher in ETH as ETH goes up in USD. That's my thesis. And for that reason, I've been accumulating NFTs, especially VFriends. Again, I think a lot of these IP companies, the Azuki, Pudgies, VFriends, a lot of them not only are going to NFTs are going to go up in value, but a lot of these companies are going to become some of the biggest brands and IPs in the world off the back of NFTs and crypto becoming so prominent. And when you have VFriends, who again is a project that has time in the game, that's down 90%, just like a lot of these other coins, but it comes down to the operator, Gary Vaynerchuk, and not only his track record as a businessman, his track record of being right, and just nailing trends on years ahead of time before anybody else is able to see these things, from Facebook and social media marketing back in the day. You know, he saw the vision where back in early internet days that social media, Facebook, Instagram, all these places, organic posts were going to be a way for influencers to make millions of dollars. That played out. He said the same thing about TikTok 2 or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago. I remember he said this is going to be the biggest app in the world. Back when it was just kids or whatever, like young kids, fucking teenagers dancing on there, and now it's the biggest app in the world. He said same thing about NFT. So to me, it's just about the operator and their ability to garner and attract attention. I mean, you're already seeing Gary has 3 million followers on Twitter. His tapped in with some of the biggest celebrities in the world. He just understood social media marketing and just technology better than anybody, including NFTs. He was saying that all contracts and real estate and everything was going to be an NFT back in 2021. Now that's exactly what's kind of starting to play out here. So yeah, not even just VFriends. If it's not VFriends for you, whether it's Pudgies, Azuki, any of these other projects, I think there's great opportunities and a lot of these projects that have stuck around. And I think we're going to see a big influx in volume and probably prices here, especially if we were to get some type of Fortune 500 company or just a bigger company kind of entering the game. I think that could be a catalyst. Could be in the gaming realm. It could be a number of things. But I think there's a lot of signs pointing to a NFT bull run coming, probably simultaneously with a crypto bull run. So I'm excited. I like, again, the VFriends. I really like something that's maybe a lower price range besides the VFriends Series 2 is the wonky stonks, which again are made by Crypto Kaleo back in 2021. Kind of his vision on kind of getting traders or chart people into NFTs. And I think it has a combination of great art and a competent founder and operator who can drive attention to the NFTs. So I really like wonky stonks here. And then meme coin NFTs, I think that's going to be a big realm. You saw Little Chillers pop up a few weeks ago. I think that's the early signs of a lot of these meme coin projects are going to create NFT projects along with their NFTs or with their meme coin. So yeah, I think this is just an early trend. Those three things, the IP plays that have stuck around with great operators, the art and crypto punks, and then these meme coin NFTs. I think those are going to be really three big sectors going into 25, 26. Countdown to the doxing of Bren. That sounds a little crazy. No, definitely gonna do the face content and everything soon. I'm excited to do that as well. Honestly, at this point, it's just like really no need for me to stay doxed. And I know if I want to get to the continue to put out the content, I feel like it's just the move. Currently, fewer expensive for me. Yeah, I hear you. Any advice for someone trying to gain a following in the crypto space? Started a channel with my buddy like you and Bossman. Shout out to you, Eerily. Um, I do recognize your PFP. Just so you guys know, like the names that it shows here is your at. So a lot of times your at is going to be different than your display name. So first of all, shout out to you. I don't know. I recognize your PFP. I don't know if we talked before, but that's an amazing question. And shout out to you and your homie for putting out content and putting out a channel out there and putting out your thoughts. I would say a lot of people in crypto are looking for guidance, and I think that's why a lot of times people are kind of led astray by bad actors sometimes or whatever, is because a lot of people are just looking for guidance and looking for people to tell them, what they should be doing. So to kind of separate yourself and what I've found over the last few years, again, I've been involved with crypto for 9 years, really didn't get on crypto Twitter until 2021, November of 21, and really didn't start networking or anything until like 2022. And I think for me, starting out, apart from like the channel wise, just networking, as far as just being a reply guy and replying genuine comments and connecting, DMing people, genuine compliments, stuff like that. Just being active as a reply guy is a great way to get your content out there and to get your name out there for people to recognize you. 50 to 100 replies a day, I think, is good. As far as the channel goes, what's really, I think, set myself and Bossman apart is a lot of these channels are just throwing up contract addresses and just maybe a brief description of the coin and where they should buy it. A lot of these guys aren't really even finding the coin themselves. But if you want to separate yourself from most of these channels, is you want to give as much quote unquote guidance or tips and tricks or just like stuff that's helped you. Talk as if you're trying to, like, almost like a journal, or just really give your personal experiences and stuff that's helped you. Less robotic, just posting calls only. Even if you're posting trade ideas, I like to post trade ideas that have in-depth analysis, not just on the chart, but what I think fundamentally, and putting those two things together. Because again, people are just looking for guidance. They're looking for people to, give their thoughts and opinion. Just being less robotic and actually being a personality and actually giving in-depth thoughts and writing as if you're writing a write-up on something, rather than just throwing up contract addresses up there. But other than that, brother, it's just being consistent, continuing to put out free value to people over years and years period. If you're able to help people make money, and not just make money, it doesn't have to be like huge 10x gains that you call, but just consistently give tips and tricks and free value, other than just throwing up contract addresses up there, I think will really help you separate yourself. But shoot me your Telegram channel name or your Telegram channel link after the stream, and I'll definitely check it out and shoot you guys a follow. Mad respect for anybody who's trying to guide people and help people. Again, just be real. Avoid the gimmicks and the bullshit. Delayed gratification. Don't, I don't know. I'm not going to say all gambling stuff's bad. There's a lot of people who are doing it, but just don't take quick buck. Just don't take shortcuts, I would say. Just continue to put out free value. How much leverage do you set up for futures? Great question, Dostoevsky. For me, I use 7x leverage, between 7 and 10x, but I would say starting out, no more than 5 to 10x. Really 10x is high. I would do even 3 to 5x. Is going to give you a lot of room to kind of treat these as swing positions, rather than just like, because if you're trying to give yourself 5 or 10% room to get liquidated, even if you're not using stop losses, it just doesn't give you a lot of room. I like to treat leverage as a way to get slightly more upside, and being able to add during these corrections. And using 10, 20, 30x leverage doesn't allow you to do that. How much is your single highest profit in a trade? That's a good question. From one single trade, it would either be, it's for sure Trump coin. Made 7 figures. I won't say exactly how much, but just 7 figures within that day. I got like a 30, 40x on it or something. It was one of the freest opportunities for people who even put 5 figures in it to turn it into to 7 figures. I wish I would have put more. But that was definitely my biggest win. GME on Sol was another big one. Let's see if I can find the tweet. This right here. I was like, just tweeting about Sol March 16th, 2024 for GME. Let's go to the chart. This was back during the time. Damn. Back during the time. This was right here, right? Where during that tweet, which was right here. This was down here. GME went a little bit lower. But then as you can see here, Roaring Kitty, I was accumulating all the way down here. To me, during that time, everything was having a run, correcting, and then having a second run. And the community was still strong. There was a narrative to me. And then we kind of got lucky that around that time, Roaring Kitty actually came back, went on that second, run where he bought a ton of GME options. And then for those few weeks there, it ran pretty hard. I got, what was this? It went almost 40x in a couple weeks. I took profits aggressively here, was able to get, like a 15x total on my initial, again, 5-figure entry here. So that's another one that I did really well on. Again, that one was a little bit more drawn out, but played that one really well, took profits aggressively on the way up. And then since then it's been down. You can't hear me? Hello? I think it's just you, bro. I'm talking to my producer, by the way, guys. The mic is still showing on the screen. But how much is your profit? Yeah, so yeah, it would be Trump for sure in a single trade, and then pretty close behind it was GME. That was kind of my first initial like big win as far as meme coins go, like where I just in a few days where it was like a big win. So yeah, GME and then Trump. I think Trump was probably the biggest win for a lot of people. Your dedication appreciate you. Yo, what's good, Hawk? Shout out to Hawk, man. This guy, he's been posting some nice early contract addresses or just highlighting some good coins pretty early on before they went on big runs the last few days. So shout out to him. Hope you ate pretty good on those coins, Hawk. Yeah, 1.7 here at minute 30. Of course, these are views and not concurrent viewers, but shout out to everybody who's been on. I hope these streams and these, the insights that we're or the stuff we're sharing helps you in at least a bit to at least be an escape from what most of crypto Twitter is over these periods, which is boredom and a lot of pessimism. And at least a place that you can go and hang out and chop it up with us. I appreciate all of you guys for real. I wouldn't be doing this stream if it wasn't for you guys. I wouldn't enjoy talking to myself. It's just nothing I love more than coming on these streams every time and chopping it up with the chat. Congo again for 1,800 views. I learned again 2% today. Now I'm 1% better in crypto. Fuck yeah, bro. That's what it's all about. That's actually a great question, Early. Wish you success. Yeah. That's why Brendan's a growth. Shout out to you, Hawk. Yeah, it's very easy to get wrecked with leverage. You got it, Misfit Hunter. Shout out to you. Keep going. Speaking of a Telegram channel, I think having a partner who can cover some of the things that you lack, not only your interests, is a huge benefit. The way you can redistribute responsibilities in crypto, because crypto is huge to cover by oneself. Are you meaning like more traditional markets and other stuff? Yeah, I like to have a balance of perspectives as well, for sure. And I think that's why having Furloco on as well, where he has more of a background in energy and a lot of other places. But I also find when you have too many different voices on that are have too many differing opinions as far as like range of like I like to keep it myself and have some other guests on and stuff. I like to keep it pretty focused on Web3 and digital assets and all that. But I'd like to hear, definitely like to have, if you have any guests in mind or anybody you want to have come on for a show or two or whatever that talk about certain other things, definitely open to that. Love you, dude. Shout out to you. When giveaway? Gonna do a giveaway in the comments of the chat after the stream here, and then the big giveaway, which if you guys aren't aware, I probably should have brought this up at the end of this or early on in the stream, but big giveaway that I'm doing right now. I moved it now to two $500 Pengu winners, and then on top of that, a V Friends Series 2 NFT, which is right now worth around $200 or a little bit more than $200. I'm going to be giving away from the comments of this original post here. So if you haven't already, definitely check that out if you wish to enter. Again, somebody asked earlier, are these completely random or am I picking it by hand? The answer is two of the winners are completely random. I won't disclose how I do it so that people can't game it. But two are picked completely random from the comments of the stream, and then one, likely the VFriends Series 2 NFT, I'm going to pick from the comments myself manually. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and do that here in the next few hours. So stay tuned to that. By the end of the day, the winners will be announced. So shout out to everybody who's been participating in that. Yeah, thanks for being here, Rolly. Nah, I wouldn't do that, brother. Misfit Hunter. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. But let's look at Bitcoin. Oh, ETH's still fucking exploding. Yeah, it'd be nice to see Bitcoin here again clear that 120. It'll be cool to see Bitcoin clear this 123K high here. That'll kind of be the last confirmation. But for me, again, I've just been accumulating what I want during this dip here and just waiting for it to do its thing. Again, we are going into the weekend. Maybe, who knows, maybe we chop down low. But like For Loco said earlier, if we were to see an explosion into the weekend, that'd definitely be a good sign. I'll look at Gary for you, brother. Yeah, if you guys are still on the stream, by the way, too, I am working on a lot of educational content that I will be putting out, apart from the stuff we're already doing in the Telegram, that I'm going to be putting out hours of in-depth, like educational content based on my chart strategy, different principles, my personal profit-taking strategy, how I structure my portfolio, stuff that's helped me over those last several years to take, my portfolio and really compound it. And hopefully stuff that'll help you guys. I don't know exactly how I'm going to be releasing it yet, but of course it will be very close, completely free of charge to everybody. Again, this is a lot of information that I've been accumulating or putting out there over the last couple months, in depth, not only videos, but kind of PowerPoint type diagrams as well for people who like to read and see stuff more visually, and then videos for people who like to hear stuff more auditorially or more in video form. So super stoked to put that out. Again, I just want to put out everything that I've learned to hopefully help as many people cut down their learning curve. Because a lot of what crypto is stuff you have to experience and live through. But I hope that with this information that I can share this stuff and mistakes and stuff that I've made to hopefully, at the very least, cut down people's learning curve by a bit, and at least be the person or be the information and the guide that I wish I had early on. So, if I could do that for at least a few people, it's a huge blessing. So look out for that. I never smile. How would you know, bro? I'm doxxed. For all you know, I'm fucking cheesing this entire stream, bro. You have no clue. How much is your biggest profit in one day? I already went over that. In one day, probably Trump coin for sure. In depth goes hard, yeah. But yeah, I think I'll hang out here for a few more minutes, see what else is going on. The last few days on crypto Twitter, other than price going up today, has been filled with a lot of drama and a lot of interesting reality show type shit, which is entertaining sometimes for 2 seconds, and then you realize that we're in an industry that's about to fucking blow up, and that there's crazy opportunity right now to print like fucking crazy gains. That this reality show fucking drama shit is gets tiring. Not tiring, but just gets boring pretty quickly. But Gary, somebody asked about Gary. What the fuck? Gary. Don't know anything about this coin. Looks like it's around this cat. I assume it's probably a pretty famous cat in Asia or something due to these letters or whatever characters down here. But that's a complete guess. You can let me know what it is in the chat. I will say that Asia in general seems to be really setting the culture over the last few years. I saw somebody, Luca Nets, retweet somebody that talked about this. How over the last several decades, the West and specifically America, United States has kind of set the culture, but now it seems like Asia is kind of doing that over the last several years with Squid Games, with Labubu, with all these different trends. So I'm not surprised to see a lot of these big Asian memes that I've never heard of, being an American, kind of doing well. I assume that a lot of the Asian participants in crypto probably are quick to ape these type of things, and this does look pretty corrective and choppy. So I would not be surprised to see this move up harder from here. So I thought I saw you. You have a big smile. That's crazy. That sounds creepy, brother. But no, I'm just playing. I don't know. I always marvel at how these guys know so much. Bren Flow is whatever. Appreciate you, bro. Destra, we already looked at Destra. I think Destra goes higher in the next year or so. I think the AI narrative is going to be massive. Yeah, Rolly, I do talk about trading psychology a lot. If you type in tip of the day or Bren's tip of the day on the Telegram channel, you'll see a lot of where I talk about this stuff. But I will continue to do that, and I am going to put together a series of videos and other educational content also in one place that everybody can check out. I'm sick still watching your stream. Feel good. Shout out to you, Samuel. Hope you feel better, brother. Nubcat. Yeah, let's look at Nubcat. A lot of people are seeing Nubcat as like a big IP play similar to Pengu. I'm not too familiar with the Nub meme or whatever before this, but overall, this chart looks really good. We had this big fat correction of like, dude, this was 90% or plus. Was this? I think not only 90, this is like 99%, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, I'm tripping. Oh no, yeah, like 99%, and then now it's bounced back crazy. Just from chart wise alone, time in the game, all that, I think that Nubcat probably continues to move higher here. Anytime a coin moves into these massive corrections and bounces back, it always creates a nice supply distribution and kind of like a really like a kind of a Lindy effect every time these coins do this. Same thing we've seen on Giga, SPX, MOG, whatever, but this is a massive correction of over a year and a half almost. And the fact that it's able to come out of here is a very good sign. So I would assume if market conditions continue to stay strong here, that we will see Nub probably above 100 million pretty quickly. Oh yeah, you said USDUC as well. Yeah, USDUC is one that I added to pretty heavily a couple months ago, or like a month and a half ago, when I had a few people who, oh wow, let's fucking go. USDUC is bouncing back hard. Wow, great move. 2x here off the bottom. Great to see. Love to see that. I think USDC also is another one we'll see above 100 million pretty quick. Oh, we actually put out a. I think I actually clipped this the other day, but USDC, another update here. To me, it was just such an obvious correction. Looked very similar to what we saw in August 8th, with this no consolidation, kind of chopped down, a couple lows, bounce back higher. Just a mini version of it here, coming out of this corrective channel. I think very likely goes to all-time highs. USDUC, not only price wise, has thrown us these 1, 2, 3, 4 nice corrections in the last 2 months and come out of them, but the USDUC narrative slash meme slash movement behind it, I think, is going to have staying power, because the number one thing I'm hearing right now in crypto amongst institutional types and just long-term people is that doesn't matter what crypto does. Even if stable coins alone are just the dominant narrative, crypto is going to go to the trillions of dollars in market cap and it's going to grow. So that the meme slash parody slash troll slash whatever you want to call it version of stable coins, as meme coins also do really well, I think USDUC narrative wise, price wise, personally, people I know working behind the project who are working with exchanges, different stuff like that to kind of get these things listed. All of those things together, I'm extremely bullish on USDC. Kind of checks every one of my boxes for a low cap coin. And for those of you who've been following, following for a while, knows that I don't usually even hop on coins that are under 100 million unless they really check the boxes for me. So USDC is one of those coins. Kind of, again, everything in one, price wise, narrative wise, team core team / community wise. I think the sky's the limit for this one, and I think 100 million is pretty conservative, but probably 200-300 million, even maybe a sleeper for $1 billion if things really get crazy. But I really love USDUC here. There are new coins every second, so keep searching if you don't have a good entry. Hell yeah. No, I mean, I saw that your second profile, which have a pic. Yeah, if you're talking about Instagram, that's not me. Let me know what you're talking about. Hey, there's some guy on on Instagram who like made something called Bren.trades with like not AI, but just like some other video shit. It's not me. But yeah, damn, we're closing up on 2,000 views here in an hour, 47 minutes. Shout out to you guys. Love you guys for real. Let me know before I sign off here. I want to see something. I want to know where you guys are at in the world. For me, I'm in the United States. I'm in California, based in California. So right now it's 12:30 p.m. for me. And let me know where you're at in the world. Is it nighttime, morning? Are you at school? Are you at home? You full time with crypto? You got a job? Let me know where you guys are at. Yeah, Bitcoin lagging along, kind of lagging behind here. ETH's already made a new high. To me, here's a tip. For me, somebody who I really like to accumulate during these corrections, what I'll do by default, and I'm going to do when I get off the stream here, is I'll take 25% of my position off when it hits the previous high. That's always when it hits the previous correction high. Or even sometimes a little bit before it, because it's always good to just take some profits off the board. In general, you just want to lock in partial profits. It gets our mind in the right place. It allows us to lock in gains, get risk-free, gets us in a lot better place mentally where we're already in a win-win situation. And then if you are going to get a reversal or some type of big kind of move back down, kind of pull back, it's going to be usually towards the all-time high. So if you are going to see a pullback and you take off 25% by default here, if it does decide to go down here one more time, you're already locked in some gains. So that's typically how I play corrections. I like to add on corrections, take partial profits on the way up. That way, if you have a longer term belief on it, you're able to lock in gains while still able to build a bigger position as it goes up. And then another thing is you want to be moving your stop losses in profit. So if we ever to get that big, pullback where some kind of crazy news comes out and it wicks down, you don't lose everything. So that's kind of how I play perps, how I be playing perps most of the time. India, 1 a.m. here. Wow. So you're like 12 hours ahead of me. Here from Mexico City, 1:32 p.m. Okay, so you're pretty on the same time frame as me. Hawk is down the street. Yeah, Hawk and I still need to get some coffee here. We're actually in the same area. 8:30 p.m. here. Okay. I will be joining my job. Nice, bro. What do you do? What sector are you in? Indonesia, 2:30 a.m. Wow, shout out to you guys who are still fucking up late here. I'm from the deepest trenches, 8:30 p.m. here. Okay. Shout out to Hawk. Thank you for reposting, brother. You're studying last stream. Shout out to you. Thanks for sharing, Hawk. I see that. Shout out to you, Mrs. Bullish. Appreciate the art and the words. Diddy looking good here is crazy. Call of Diddy. Oh, that's nuts. Let's go, locked in. Shout out to everybody who's retweeting, sharing the stream. Going to continue to do this, whether market's up, down, sideways. Pull up. Shout out to you, Juice. I don't know if you're here, brother, but shout out to you. Lol. Mog coin. See what else is going on in the timeline. Shout out to FFV again. Fucking great guy. Clement.
Don't nobody else make me feel like. Don't nobody else make me feel like.
Type shit.
Make me feel like.
Shout out to Clemente, man. Honestly, he's probably the most consistent content creator as far as like entertainment content. Not to say he doesn't have good takes on the market or anything, but like someone who puts out continually like entertaining content. Shout out to him. He's hilarious. Let me know what you guys think. Anybody fucking with football.fun? I know a lot of people have been using that. God damn. Ticker Bitcoin up. Yeah, I think Raul makes a great point here. I think a lot of people talk about Bitcoin dominance as the important chart, which, I think Bitcoin dominance probably will keep going up, but I think total 3 is the chart that's really most indicative of meme and altcoin health, right? Because Bitcoin dominance can keep going up while the overall market continues to grow. But I think when total 3 goes up, which for those of you who don't know is Bitcoin and ETH, I'm sorry, it's the total market cap of crypto taking out, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. What this gives us is more of a clearer picture of how the rest of the market is doing outside the top 2 biggest coins. It's kind of like the Russell 2000s for the stocks. It's kind of the small cap, or not really small cap, but it's the smaller cap coins, right? So this kind of gives us a clearer vision of how the overall market minus the 2 biggest coins are doing. And as you can see here, we've gone from 800 million, which 800 million to over $1 billion here. Let me see if I can find the tweet really quick. But yeah, so total 3 posted this back here in February. Back when, let's see, total 3 was down, came a little bit lower than my target, I think a little bit, but yeah, I mean, to me, I think total 3 was just the chart to watch. Again, it gives us the best view and look into how the overall market is doing, and other than the top 2 coins, and I think this will continue to move higher. And I expect, again, with this is going to come a period where not only memes but alts, NFTs, the strong coins in the other sectors are going to kind of run at the same time for the first time in a few years. I don't know how high this goes. A lot of people think we go to 2 trillion pretty quickly. Would not surprise me, but I expect, like usual, especially as we break all-time highs from 2021, that that this probably moves up pretty fucking quickly or pretty hard. It's pretty crazy to think that the overall total money in crypto, other than Bitcoin and ETH, is still lower than it was in 2021. So again, yeah, I think we're going to see total 3 break above this all-time high pretty strongly, and pretty quickly. Probably go 1.52 trillion pretty quickly here. So definitely a chart to keep an eye on, and still extremely bullish on it. I feel that, Domvo. I when I started trading too with Forex, dude, I would stay up all night. A lot of the times, especially in Forex, when most of the markets happen, at least when I'm on the West Coast, happen like the early morning. It's tough to get some sleep if you want to really be watching the markets. Can we expect a strong comeback from Polkadot? Yeah, I hold a good amount of Polkadot from, a few years ago. I think I really like Polkadot long term. A lot of people have completely written it off, but I think there's still a good shot that it runs. And I just would not count out Gavin Wood, who is one of the founders of Ethereum and kind of theorized, or at least from what I understand, kind of thought of the idea or invented, I think they say, like the idea or the see, I'm not a blockchain dev or a developer at all, so I'm probably using the wrong terminology. But from what I understand, Gavin Wood, which is the founder of Polkadot, was kind of wrote the early code for Ethereum and actually thought of the idea or invented the language of what's it called? I'm completely blanking. What's it called? Solidity. I'm sorry. Who invented Solidity, and then another team, I think after he left, kind of wrote it out and kind of got everything kind of filled in the details and went further on his ideas. But yeah, I just wouldn't count out Polkadot here, especially with this much consolidation down low. Does it run it back to all-time highs and really make a run for becoming a massive influential blockchain? I don't know, but I think you're probably some good risk to reward here, at least in the short term. Let's see. Anything else happening on water? Yeah, almost 2,000 views on here in the last few hours. It seems like market and like viewership for crypto and people are starting to slowly creep back in on crypto Twitter. It's insane to see Bankless, for example, which is one of the biggest crypto YouTube accounts out there. Um, until just recently, like I think they're getting 10K, 5K views, 5.6K views. And these are guys who've been in the space for a long time, really smart individuals who have very, you know, who've talked to some of the smartest people in the space and even like big names on, and they're still getting under 10K views right now. And I'm not, that just goes to show of how low viewership for crypto is, and what we can take from that is, for me, what I look at when for looking for like a more euphoric top and where I'm really looking to take profits on things is when crypto in the general public is being talked about a lot. Euphoric signs are there in the Coinbase, how strong Coinbase is on the Apple Store, how much the average person, and this is anecdotal, but how much the average person in your real life is talking about crypto, and stuff on like TikTok views and YouTube viewership. If those are at skyrocketing at all time highs, that's something, okay, might be signs of a euphoric top. We're seeing the opposite right now in crypto content. We're seeing crypto content still at rock bottom. These guys said are all the way down at 2019 levels as far as the viewership. To me, that just tells us we have so much more upside to go into crypto over the next 25 to 26 because of how low hype and mania is right now. I think we have so much more high to go. So to see stuff like this, to see Bankless, even with big interviews, like obviously the Vitalik interview got 61K, which still extremely low for the founder of Ethereum. To have 61K viewers. Like I feel like in 2021 or even last year, a Vitalik interview would get 500K, 200, 300K views. And then also what that tells us as well, before I move on, is look how many people are willing to actually watch these fucking videos and actually put in the time to actually learn from these people. Like for me, guys, like I'm 30 years old now. I did not have a background in finance at all. I didn't even get like I didn't even finish college. All of this stuff that I've learned, and I think I know a lot more than the average person on this stuff, is not because I have a finance background. It's because I spent like an ungodly amount of hours watching these different interviews. And luckily it's entertaining for me. I love this kind of stuff, right? It's not only lucrative and in my career, but is also very entertaining for me. But the only reason I know what I know now and can talk on these topics with having no background in finance and stuff is because I just spent ungodly amount of hours watching these videos. And where the biggest nuggets are of information and the biggest breakthroughs that I've taken in my trading and stuff is come from these 2-hour podcasts, which, as you can see here, very few people are willing to watch at all, let alone watching the full things through. So if you're somebody who can break down these podcasts into small bits of time, even if you're busy or have a job or whatever, I'm telling you, you will set yourself apart from most people out there. Again, because just like anything, it's just going to come down to how much you're willing to learn and how many mistakes and everything you're willing to make. Most people are just watching charts. The biggest insights that I've taken and why I'm able to really draw and talk on these things is because I've learned from people who have traded through these kind of hypes or these cycles and hypes, just different stuff in the past. Obviously the experience that I've gotten personally from 9 years in crypto, but further than that, from people who have been trading for 20, 30, 40 years through the dot-com bubble, through 2008, through the COVID crash, and can kind of, compare them to what we're seeing now. Like those are the biggest breakthroughs and the biggest stuff that I've learned. So don't be afraid. The Bankless podcast is great. Apart from Ryan and David being, smart individuals themselves, they're continuously, as you can see here, able to have the smartest minds in the space on week after week. And there's just so much you can learn from these individuals. So Bankless, and then this other guy, When Shift Happens. This guy recently, I don't know how long he's been doing this things, but just the last year, I've really come to notice his stuff. He'll same kind of thing. This guy's a smart individual too, but he really is just continuously able to have the best guests on in the world, the smartest individuals. from in crypto, the traditional finance realm, but NFT founders like Luca, and really just get in depth and ask really good questions. So as you can see here, this guy gets a little bit more viewers, even in some of these 1, 2, 3K views, 10K. The one with with Tolly only got 14K views. Like, you don't think there's okay? That's only one clip. I'm sure his full interview has a bigger viewership. But I mean, even with Raoul Paul, stuff like that. Yeah. Do you think Soul will break 200 today? Today, I have no clue. Soon, yes. It's funny how I see Bitcoin signs on some shitty vape shops and not inside banks. It generates misconception that normies take for granted. That's a great point, man. I remember at my barber, who I've had the same barber since what? 2021? 2020? Before that, maybe 2019, something like that. I remember he's had one of the barbers in the shop had a Bitcoin sticker on his thing for 5 or 6 years now. You're completely right. Crypto is kind of for the first time where retail or like normies or the general public was able to get in before the institutions, and for years. So it's cool to see. Isn't this AI? Is what AI? Yeah, 2K views, whatever you want to call it, over the 2 hours. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being on here. I'll hang out for a few more minutes before I gotta to get going. But yeah, guys, I think what we're about to enter, God willing, again, I think what all signs are pointing to is a tipping point for alts and memes, where it won't just be Bitcoin and ETH, but a real tipping point where alts, memes, movement memes, NFTs, and a lot of stuff are bubbling to, I think, make a huge run. Maybe, again, God willing, like if everything goes right, the biggest, most hopefully sustainable run that digital assets have ever gone on. A gold rush or the first true adoption cycle, similar to what we saw on the internet after the .com bubble popped and recovered, to where, in past years, crypto prices kind of overran where the technology and the regulatory clarity was at. And now I think for the first time, price might even be lower than where the regulatory clarity and the institutional adoption is at. So again, hopefully, I think all signs are pointing, from my experience, from intuition, from just, different things I've seen over the years and these different corrections. I think everything is pointing to an extremely strong year in 25, 26, maybe even the 27. What I'm focusing on, again, getting the last buys and really buying and holding the coins that I have most conviction in during this time while I still can, because I think we're going to pray to have these prices again in 2, 3, 5, 6 months. And then just really focusing on taking partial profits on everything on the way up that's not Bitcoin, Solar, ETH, or stables. And just going from there. At that point, again, if we're able to take profits on the way up, we don't have to worry where we're at in the cycle. We're already risk-free. We already locked in some gains. We already, are doing well. And then from there, we can see how this thing plays out. Again, I think what max pain is and what a lot of people aren't expecting is that a few things is that we're going to get normies in for the first time. I think a lot of people just assume that it's peaked. 2021 and 2017 were the only times where we're going to see the general public really trading crypto again, like a mania. But I push it back against that. I think not only are we going to have a mania phase, but it may push us way further in the 26, 27 potentially, way further than most people think, especially after it's clear that the 4-year cycle is over. But I mean, I would just, again, practice your profit taking strategy. Have a profit taking strategy and a plan set up ahead of time so that you don't have to get caught up in emotion and greed and leave it to your emotions to do it. So check out the Telegram channel. As of right now, go to the Telegram channel, ABTPP. If you type that in the Bossman Calls Telegram channel, I have a full in-depth video on how I take profits. But that would just be my advice to everybody before I sign off is, again, get a plan set up ahead of time, because when these bullish periods start to heat up, it's really easy to get caught up in the moment and just not make smart decisions. So yeah, profit taking system. Have your portfolio set up heavily in the investor bucket in Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, with a plan to take profits into those on the way up, and you're going to do incredibly well, I think. With that, guys, I'm fucking super fucking excited for the future. I'm burnt out here. 2 hours talking straight. It's nuts. I don't know how a lot of these streamers do it for like 8 hours straight, but I'm sure it gets easier over time. But love you guys so much. I'll be back on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. PST again. As time goes on, gonna have more guests, different stuff for you guys. But again, I just want this to be the one-stop shop so people can come and chop it up about the markets, potentially, share charts and stuff that you're looking at, where I can share what I'm doing, and just kind of build a community around people who are long-term serious people in this industry. And again, you don't have to be some crazy influencer. Followers doesn't matter. That's not what I mean by serious people. I mean people who see the vision of crypto, not only just being a quick way to make money, but a legitimate asset class that is going to be around for a long time and give us opportunities, again, God willing, opportunities to invest and to trade for like decades to come. Like those are the people I like to surround myself with. Again, people who are long term. You got to understand a lot of these guys on Telegram and Twitter, and it's not to shit on anybody, but a lot of people think that this is, especially the meme coin stuff, it's just a quick flash in the pan. It's just going to be a quick fad or a quote unquote meta. But I think few people really realize that crypto, there's no going back. The technology is going to be implemented into everybody, pretty much everything from finance to digital collectibles to all these different things, and the great assets, the great memes, NFTs, L1s, AI coins, all that are gonna have a very strong future. Again, I just really liken it to the stock market over the last 20 years, from 2004 on until now. The people who really just like ignored all the bullshit, and every time the stock market dipped, they just bought more, or at least they just touched grass and just ignored the bullshit. Again, from 2009 when the stock market bottomed out, again, what is that, 15, 16 years ago? If you would have just remained bullish, every time it dipped here, you didn't get caught up in the fear narratives and just remain bullish on the good companies, you're up massive. You're up, S&P 500 again, which is an index itself, is up almost 10x. That means the individual companies are up 10, 20, 30, 50x in that time. Maybe not 50, but 10, 20x in that time. So the reason I say this is I think the people who remain bullish on Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, great memes, AI coins, L1s are going to have much of the same results. So yeah, with that, love you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you have any suggestions on the stream, anything you want to see, feel free to reach out to me in DM. And with that, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Love you guys. Peace.